At the very center of Moscow lies the Kremlin, lies Red Square. But tonight, Moscow is the center of the MMA world as a brand new VTB arena will be the site as an iconic 21-year career comes full circle as the last emperor begins his last chapter. Fedor Emelianenko back home in Russia will close the show against his hand-picked opponent, the rejuvenated veteran heavyweight Tim Johnson, who just fought for the interim heavyweight title. Vitaly Minakov, well, he won the heavyweight world title back in 2013 and never lost it. He hopes to get back in title contention with a win. We've become accustomed to seeing a 0 next to the Nurmagomedov name, and one of the best 185ers in the world. He'll kick off the main card, all that at 3 p.m. Eastern on Showtime. But the night in Moscow begins with another student of a legend. And while Fedor's next generation and Fedor himself will be front and center tonight, it's another of Russia's MMA royalty, Alexander Shlemenko, who's also laying a strong foundation for the future as well.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome into the cage, Alexander Osetrov.
I'm sure some of you have a drinking game going on today, tonight, wherever you are in the world, about how many times we're going to say the name Fedor between now and the time the day is up. But there are other great fighters from Russia. John McCarthy, Alexander Shlemenko is one of them. Andrei Koreshkov, his prized pupil, of course, rose to prominence, becoming a dominant welterweight world champion. Alexander Osetrov is another of that school, and he talks about Alexander Shlemenko and Andrei Koreshkov as motivational factors for him.
He talks about them with reverence because of who they are, what they've done. And look, Alexander Shlemenko is a remarkable fighter. This is a guy that has been fighting for so long, you know, 70-some fights. He is just amazing as far as what he did in the cage, but his coaching and who he has coached and the way he has done it, he has proved that as a trainer, as the coach, he's every bit as good on the outside as he was on the inside.
And talking to Fedor this week, you realize just how important it is for these fighters to have this next generation going forward. And man, is Russian MMA ever looking like it could be, this could be the dominant place in the world now in this next 5-10 years.
Absolutely. The Eastern European region as a whole, just amazing.
And now about to make his entrance, please welcome Aiden Lee.
He's fast, he's long, he's got great stand-up. You talk about who he's taken on, and you're talking about his first fight in Bellator was against Sal Rogers. And Sal Rogers is a beast, a guy that has now moved up to 155 pounds. And then his last fight was an amazing fight against Aaron Pico. He lost the fight, but I was so impressed with what he did in that fight against Pico and the things that he fought off. He showed exactly how good he is in the cage.
He stayed in that fight with Aaron Pico where a lot of guys wouldn't, as Aaron Pico was hunting for submissions all throughout that fight. Let's check out the tail of the tape as we begin at 145, another division that's getting very interesting in Bellator.
Our tail of the tape for this featherweight matchup, very simply put, take a look at the length of Aiden Lee, 75 inches compared to a 68-inch reach for Osetrov. That is a big advantage. We'll see if he can capitalize on it.
Our historic night in Moscow begins with Tukake.
Ladies and gentlemen, very good evening to you and welcome to the VTB Arena here in beautiful Moscow, Russia. We are now ready to begin Bellator 269 prelims with 3 5-minute rounds in the featherweight division. Introducing firstly the fighter in the blue corner, standing 5'10", weighing in at 145.5 pounds. His record: 8 wins, 2 losses, and 1 draw, hailing from Omsk, Russia. Please welcome Alexander Osetrov. And introducing his opponent across the cage in the red corner, standing 6 foot, weighing in at 147.5 pounds. His record: 9 wins, 5 defeats. He fights out of Birmingham, England. Please welcome Aiden Lee. Our third man in the ring will be our referee, Kevin McDonald.
Good to see the familiar face of Kevin McDonald. Halfway around the world. You've seen everywhere, you have been everywhere, John. Is there a comfort level no matter where you are once you step inside there and it almost feels like home?
Absolutely. The best part is that cage doesn't change. When you step in there, you're comfortable, and that's the most important part.
Osetrov on your right, it's Aiden Lee. Birmingham, England on your left.
I think the fans are going to be in for a real treat because Osetrov, he loves to be in the stand-up, and so does Aiden Lee, and they're both very good at it. So they should be going after the big-time highlight reel kicks and punches that we want to see.
Straight right got through from Aiden Lee. You see that the height advantage is really more apparent. And sometimes you read something on the tail of the tape, but then when you actually see it, Aiden Lee looks much bigger in there. Trying to double up on the leg kick.
Nice, clean, straight left hand to the body. Osetrov he will switch it up and he will go to wrestling. Aiden Lee is very good with it. He got hurt by that. Aiden Lee is very good with his wrestling defense. So it's not going to be easy to get him to the ground. The length of Aiden Lee is going to be a problem for anybody in the featherweight division.
When I think of Alexander Slamenko, I think about that spinning back fist. I'm not sure how many guys ever did that better.
How many times he did it? So now that you just saw that huge looping left hand by Osetrov, and you're saying that's a mistake, and you saw Lee try to take advantage of with the counter. Those counters, if he allows those mistakes to continue on, Aiden Lee's going to take advantage of them.
That's Osetrov trying to figure out how to close this distance.
That's exactly right.
Dangerous way to do it.
Oh, that was a clean left hand by Aiden Lee. That landed with a lot of power. Osetrov showing a really solid chin and just keeping up on that.
He's really having trouble making up this distance. He's trying with the body kicks, almost using them like a jab because he can't reach him with his jab.
That's the second time he's landed that body kick, and that's something he needs to continue on with, because right now Aiden Lee is like a sniper. He is picking him apart. When he decides to engage and you see him slide in, he's being very accurate with his shots.
Almost in too close that time.
And you can see, watch as Osetrov comes in, he's almost anticipating getting hit because he's taking his head and dipping it down. Aiden Lee is going to see that. He's going to change some of his attacks and come up the middle.
Osetrov's landed 2 or 3 of those solid body kicks. There's another one. Now he's throwing the combinations, and for the first time, Aiden Lee has to back up.
That's good. This is what Osetrov, he needs to gain the respect of Aiden Lee. Oh, that's
slid
right,
again.
Right off the back of the ear.
And immediately Aiden Lee flies in, has the back.
He's got that arm trap. Now it's not, but that is deep right now. Osetrov, he's going to go out.
Osetrov taps. And talk about going on the road. Impressive from the start. He came out very confident. The clean shots at the beginning really set the tempo. And Osetrov looked like he never really settled into the distance between them.
That it was the distance, and that's what we talked about at the beginning. It's very difficult when someone has that much length on you and they are good with their striking. It's difficult to get inside and make them respect what you're going to do. That was a beautiful performance overall by Aiden Lee. And when he jumped on the neck, look, he saw that he had his man hurt. When your man is hurt, it's hard to defend those submissions. That was a smart attack by Aiden Lee. Beautiful job of jumping on that rear naked choke.
It was not only an impressive performance, it was a very clean performance from Aiden Lee.
Clean is exactly the right word, because you saw, look at how accurate he was. Watch the shots. Nothing. That's the one that hurt him right there. You see it. You can see his legs go out. Little push by Aiden Lee. And then right away, once he gets it back, he sees, he feels that arm going around. He says, oh, this is a good idea. I'm going to stick with this. You see Osetrov was trying to get rid of the leg. As soon as that hook got back in, he was in trouble. Aiden Lee, being newcomer to the ground, purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, showed his skill.
Don't be fooled by the record. We talked about the resume, not the record for Aiden Lee. Those fights against high-level competition pay off, especially when you're still just 26 years old. Now he's had 5 Bellator fights. And he has earned a step up with this performance. It doesn't last long. Tuka K will make the announcement official.
Ladies and gentlemen, the end comes at 3 minutes and 41 seconds into the round number 1. Your winner by submission due to rear naked choke, Aiden Lee.
Aiden Lee gets his 10th professional win, maybe the most impressive. He is with Mikhailov.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here with the winner, Aiden Lee. Дамы и господа, я с победителем боя, Aiden Lee. Congratulations, my friend. So you were fighting in stand-up the whole round, and then right at the very end, you submitted him. Was that the game plan?
Pro striking, man. He's got the game plan. You know, I'm a good striker. I'm a world-class striker. You know, I was comfortable on the feet, but I knew I had a big advantage on the ground against him. So, you know, I did a bit of a shit takedown early. You know, but I set it up better on the second one, and it was a wrap. Renegade Jiu-Jitsu, come on.
Я чувствую себя максимально комфортно в стойке, и мой план на бой был преимущественно на самом деле в борьбе, потому что я себя чувствую более комфортно в борьбе, чем мой оппонент. So, what's next for Aiden Lee in Bellator? Что следующее для Aiden Lee в Беллаторе?
As they know, man, I don't turn down no fights. You know, when they offered me this fight, I was actually ill when they offered it me. I was in hospital with sepsis, but here I am, 10 weeks later, first round finished. You know, I'll fight anybody that know this. Let's go.
Я не знаю, что следующим для меня. Я вернулся буквально через 10 недель после моей травмы, и я никогда не отклоняю ни одного предложения о бое. Congratulations to the winner, Aiden Lee. Поздравляем победителя Aiden Lee.
All right, guys. Aiden Lee, very impressive opening the show here in Moscow. And while this night is certainly about Fedor, there's another former heavyweight champion in the co-main event. One of the most dominant fighters in Bellator history is back. The co-main event, the former heavyweight world champion Vitaly Minakov. The last time we saw Said Soma, a very impressive knockout of Hardy Marks at Mohegan Sun earlier this summer. That's just part of a main card. And if you don't know the name Anatoly Tokov, you may very well, by the time this night is over, he will open the main card at 3 o'clock Eastern on Showtime. In that co-main event, that has implications in the heavyweight division. Ryan Bader obviously losing in the light heavyweight tournament. He will go back to defend that heavyweight title, and presumably in a unification bout with the interim champion Valentin Moldavsky. But the winner of this start to move up the list and begin to make their claim. For more on Vitaly Minakov and Said Soma in the co-main event, we head to our good friend Gareth A. Davis.
There's an extra thrill whenever two heavyweights make the cage walk, and Vitaly Minakov meets Said Soma tonight in our first battle of the big boys. Minakov, 36 now, from Bryansk, has never been stopped in 23 fights. That's some feat at heavyweight, and has a single loss on points to Czech Congo, testament to his grappling greatness as a world champion in Sambo and junior world champion in judo. Training out of ATT, Surinamese Said Soma comes in as a big underdog, but he proved last time out with a victory over the dangerous Ronnie Marks that he means business. Can the shorter, younger man by 8 years confound the form book and cause an upset tonight? Yes, he can, but he will have to strike hard, fast and early in my mind. Otherwise, Minakov will grind his foe to dust and bones. And who knows, he may just break the habit of a lifetime, claim victory, not with a snarl, but with a smile. Don't blink, it's heavyweight showdown time.
All right, Gareth, Said Soma giving new meaning to the term deep water. We'll talk more about that as we move along here today and tonight. We move to the welterweight division now, currently run by Yaroslav Amosov. Michael Venom Paige with a big win over Douglas Lima, obviously to begin this month in London, now the #1 contender. Plenty of faces and new names trying to take their place in that line.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, making his way into the cage, Alexey Shurkevich. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Gratchik, Bozinyan.
Bozinyan, the Armenian, had a couple of fights in Bellator. He's coming down from 185. In fact, he fought Austin Vanderford. He's also been a past training partner of Gegard Mousasi, which makes him an interesting guy to talk about as that fight heads our way. We're going to talk a lot more about it when we see Anatoly Tokov a little bit later on.
He had a very impressive fight against DeMarquez Jackson in his last win in Bellator. That was back in April. And what was so impressive, both guys had really good moments in the fight. But you're always looking for that guy that gives everything that he has. There's nothing left in the tank at the end of the fight. That's the way he was, and that's why he got the win.
That was coming off the loss to Vanderford. The DeMarcus Johnson fight was his first at 170. We had an interesting conversation with Henry Corrales last week about deciding almost on a whim to go down in weight. Opportunity is there, so you try it. And more often than not, guys are pretty miserable. They've tried to go down. But see, Bozinyan probably looks more like a 170 here.
He looks good here.
See, he made weight as we check out the tail of the tape.
Our tail of the tape for this welterweight fight, very simply put, you can take a look at the records. They're very close. Everything about these guys is almost identical except for that reach.
Tutukake.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, here at Bellator 269, we continue the action in the welterweight division. This bout is scheduled for 3 rounds. Introducing first, the fighter in the blue corner, standing 6 foot, weighing in at 171 pounds, holding a record of 12 wins and 4 defeats, hailing from Omsk, Russia. Please welcome Alexey Shurkevich. And his opponent in the red corner, standing 6 foot, weighing in at 170 pounds. His record stands at 11 wins and 4 defeats. He comes to us from Voronezh, Russia, by way of Sivkar, Armenia. Please welcome Gratchik Blackstone Bozinyan. The referee in charge will be Brian Miner.
Shurkevich on the left of your screen, another Alexander Shlemenko student. How often can you just see the imprint almost right away of the coach?
Many times you're going to see that. You see that, you know, what a coach was good at. His students start to pick up and emulate some of those same tactics, some of those same skill sets. Shurkevich, in watching his fights, is very calm, very relaxed fighter. He does not get flustered, does a very good job of counters, and he waits for the counters on his opponent, but he will be that guy that will lead the dance. Once he sees an opening, he'll attack. Just like that.
Look at that chase down. Left got through.
Oh, it was a big shot.
Huge counter left. And Bozinyan going to try to collect himself here. He's going to be in no hurry to get up, and maybe he should be.
Shurkevich doing a nice job there. Again, look at how relaxed he is. That's what I saw every time I watched him fight. Does not get frustrated, does not get all excited and make mistakes, just takes his time.
That's the difference between 5 fights and 16 fights.
That is. That's a
that one gets through again, and it's the patience that is giving him these opportunities.
Nice job. You're noticing that Shurkevich tries to keep his hips in front of his chin. His chin is sitting back. That's a smart maneuver. It makes it very difficult to land the up kick.
He's surprised. Bozinyan seems to be perfectly content staying there taking these shots.
Well, yeah, he's really searching for this leg lock. He's entwined the leg here, but it seems that Shurkevich has been able to take that, control his balance, and he's still landing big shots.
And look at how Shurkevich he almost has the leg tied up. Now he's been hunting for it.
He's got a heel hook going right now. The problem is there's not a lot of pain on that until all of a sudden the knee pops. Shurkevich needs to be very careful. Slipped his leg out right there. That's a clean move.
Bozinyan staying committed. He's out. Leg, and he gets knocked out because of it. John, Bozinyan fought that fight like someone out in the rain saying, well, I'm going to get an umbrella eventually.
That's a great way of looking at it, but that's not a smart way of staying dry.
It didn't seem the risk reward.
Exactly.
I didn't like, and it just seemed like he was taking too many big shots early.
And all those shots just kept adding up, and finally it takes just one more to put you out. But you have to really be impressed with Shurkevich in the way that he composed himself. He heard him early, did not get crazy, did not jump in. Take a look at the shot right here. That right hand hurt a little bit, and then watch the left. Boom! That left hook land cleanly. That's what put Bozinyan on the ground. And then it was all of these strikes overall landing. There he goes out. Big shots overall by, man, he just looked fantastic in that fight. You got to be so impressed with the way that Alexey went about his business.
You said at the start, patience, and that was the story. This fight didn't last long, but for as long as it did last, it was the patience of Shurkevich that paid off. There's Alexander Slamenko and Andrei Koroshkov.
You know, when he came into the cage, you saw how he was in a good mood, smiling. That tells you, man, this is what I've trained for. This is my payoff.
When the man on the right, Andrei Koroshkov, who was a legitimate phenom in this sport, rising to the welterweight world title, when he lost, what did he not have? Patience.
Yep.
When he lost that fight to Douglas Lima. Now, you wouldn't be patient either if you were taking the leg kicks from Douglas Lima than he would. But it's what happens when you lose that patience, and Shurkevich never did here.
Again, watch the left hook that lands here. It's a beautiful left hook right on the button. That's what puts him down. And you got to give it to Bozinyan, man. He ate it, and he was still in it. But he never tried to get himself back or control the posture and the ability to bring power by Shurkevich.
Before that finish, he took a lot of shots in the early part. He was on the ground for well over a minute, and he took a lot of shots in hunting for the heel hook. You saw he almost had it, but risk reward did not work out. Suki K will make it official.
Ladies and gentlemen, the end comes at 2 minutes and 25 seconds into the round number one. Your winner by KO, Alexey Shurkevich.
Alexey Shurkevich goes to 13-4. It is his 9th win by knockout, and that was a veteran performance from a fighter still in his 20s. And he is standing by with Mikhailov.
Дамы и господа, я с победителем боя Алексей Shurkevich. Ladies and gentlemen, he is the winner of this fight, Alexey Shurkevich. Поздравляю тебя. What a way to start your career in Bellator and to do it in your home country. What are you feeling right now? Какое невероятное начало карьеры в Беллаторе у тебя. И сделать это еще в твоей родной стране. Расскажи, что ты сейчас чувствуешь?
Можно микрофон?
Нет.
Добрый вечер, москвичи. Добрый вечер всем, кто приехал издалека. Я думаю, здесь немало ребят сидит с Омска, с нашей малой родины. Ощущение, я выполнил работу на 100%. Я оставался спокоен, я кайфовал от процесса. Я очень счастлив, что я здесь. В 2017 году я пришел в школу «Шторм» к Александру. на улице его перед тренировкой встретил, попросил, говорю, вот так-то, так-то, я хочу того-то, того-то. Он сказал, давай приходи. С того времени, ну, на дворе 2021 год, прошло 4 года. Я выступаю на одной из лучших арен в мире. Огромное спасибо, огромная благодарность Александру, Андрею, Александру Сарнавскому, Ивану Андреевичу Колеснику, компании G-Energy, Газпром. Ну, все. Мечты сбываются, Александр Шлеменко. Спасибо большое.
Dreams come true. In 2017, I was standing outside Alexander Shlemenko's gym, and I asked him to give me an opportunity, which he did. Fast forward 4 years, and I'm here in one of the best organizations in the world, and I welcome all the Muscovites, all the locals, and all the people from my home in Omsk who made their way to travel here. Also, скажи, пожалуйста, какие у тебя амбиции в этой организации? What are your ambitions in this organization?
Надо подписаться, да, сначала подписаться, потому что, можно об этом говорить, что на один контракт? Контракт был на один поединок. Дайте мне контракт, я покажу зрелище, я вам гарантирую. Есть яркие представители, которые в свое время зажигали. Андрей до сих пор зажигает. И я считаю, ему нет равных. Он топ-5 по-любому.
My ambitions is to sign a contract with this organization. Ladies and gentlemen, congratulations, Alexey Shurkevich.
Scott Coker, give me contracts. Let's go!
Дамы и господа, победитель вечера Алексей Шуркевич.
If I know Alexander Shlemenko, he coached him up on that and reminded him of exactly what to say at exactly the right time.
That's why he's a good coach.
He got it done. Much more prelim action to come.
The new Bellator MMA app is here. New look, new features, new fights. Watch live weigh-ins and prelims, share your fight picks, earn points and badges as you rank up to the heavyweight division, and stay up to date on events, rankings, and news. For all of the latest features, download the new Bellator MMA app. Available on the Apple Store and Google Play.
Bellator is live from Moscow. As Russian legend Fedor Emelianenko returns home.
Big shots from Fedor. That's the GOAT!
For a collision with the #2 ranked heavyweight, American Tim Johnson.
Huge win for Johnson.
It's a historic Bellator battle when East meets West. Bellator MMA live from Moscow today on Showtime, where warriors rule.
And that is the main card coming up at 3 o'clock Eastern time. Usman Nurmagomedov did not make weight. You said it's become a contract weight, but he'll try to stay undefeated. He'll be a heavy favorite in his fight. You haven't seen Anatoly Tokov fight, and nobody has in the last 2 years because of the pandemic. Obviously, you'll want to tune in right at 3 o'clock because the first 2 prelims are an indication. We're going to have some quick fights here in Moscow. And this landmark night as the Bellator cage arrives. Big night for Fedor Emelianenko. Our prelims will continue, and I'll tell you right now, one of John McCarthy's favorite fighters is the Pike Man, Brian Moore. We're going to see him in action. For more on that, we rejoin Gareth A. Davies.
Brian Brian Moore goes head-to-head with Nikita Mikhailov tonight in a bantamweight matchup, pitching relentless Irish grit against prowling young Russian bullishness. Moore, the 34-year-old veteran, looks sharpened down at 135 pounds, and now on a 3-fight winning streak, he'll give no quarter against 22-year-old Team Fedor fighter Mikhailov, one of several fighters on this card raised like a Spartan in sambo, striking and submitting. Mikhailov, 7-1 in MMA, hails indeed from Stadiozgol, Belgorod, home of headliner Fedor Emelianenko. Can the young buck upset the old steed tonight? Fast and furious, this one, with all eyes on a thunderous delivery from either the pikeman or the Russian prodigy.
It is sort of a classic tale, the one that is coming up next year with veteran, and as Gareth A. Davies said, young buck is exactly right when it comes to Nikita Mikhailov. We'll see how Team Fedor does as they get their first opportunity in the Bellator cage tonight.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome into the cage, Nikita Mikhailov.
The more you study martial arts, the more you realize it seems to be an endless rabbit hole to climb down. Who knows, there are probably people that haven't heard of Wushu Sanda before, and yet you're looking at a world champion in the art of, it's essentially Chinese boxing. It's the Chinese military version of all the Russian military combat training that's been the base, the sambo, for so many of these Russian fighters, but just a little bit of a twist on it. But when you're a part of Team Fedor, boy, there are so many different backgrounds. It seems all of these young fighters are, at an incredibly young age, John, are experts in so many different disciplines.
Well, they're all skilled, you know, in a lot of different techniques. So Wushu Sanda, you're talking about, like you said, Chinese boxing, but with throws, with trips, and a lot of things going on there. At 22 years of age, this guy is the future of Team Fedor. When you're talking about guys you can look at and go, man, this kid's going to be good. This is one of the fighters. Nikita is just very calm, very relaxed, and just technically very good in the cage at a very young age.
And, you know, you may not know the name, Nikita Mikhailov, but when John and I were at Saitama in December of 2015, did we know Tokov? Did we know Nemkov? No, we didn't. Fedor did.
Yeah, Fedor did, because he's been working out with him. He knows how good all these guys are. He cannot wait until you get to see the same thing.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, here comes Brian Moore.
One of the prides of SBG, Wexford, Ireland, the pikeman Brian Moore, who's a fascinating guy to talk to. Has had different stints between injury and COVID, where there were long periods of time where he hasn't fight. He's been in the construction business his whole life. And when so many different fighters were struggling with different ways to get their work in, what did the pikeman do during the coronavirus pandemic? He built his own gym
in his garage. He's a throwback. You know, I say, and I say this with reverence when I say Brian Moore is what I call Irish tough. He does not know how to step backwards. He does not know how to give ground. He will come after you throughout the fight, but the one thing he is very technically good, he has got a left hook to the body that is similar to the way Canelo throws it. It's one of the things I love watching him do. He is just fun to watch because he comes to win. He comes to win by stoppage.
Did you just do some Showtime cross promotion in there?
Might have been.
That was good. It was really good. Let's check out the tail of the tape as we go down to 135.
tape for this bantamweight matchup. Look, you got to go by the age. Look at Nikita at 22. A lot of experience in the cage and in life by Brian Moore. We'll see if that helps him in getting past Mikhailov.
To Tukake.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming up next here at the VTB Arena in Moscow, 3 5-minute rounds of action in the bantamweight division. Introducing to first the fighter in the blue corner, standing 5'8", weighing in at 135.5 pounds. His professional record, 7 wins, 1 defeat. Hailing from Starry Oskol, Russia, please welcome Nikita Mikhailov. And introducing his opponent in the red corner, standing 5'8", weighing in at 136 pounds. He joins us with 14 wins and 7 defeats. Hailing from Wexford, Ireland, please welcome Brian the Pipeman Moore. The third man in the ring will be our referee, Brian Miner.
Brian Moore on the left of your screen, already his 9th fight in Bellator. He's 5-3, but the 3 losses we talk about resume. Daniel Weichel, Noah Lahat, and of course AJ McKee, and he had AJ McKee in some trouble.
Oh, he had AJ McKee in a lot of trouble, and that's, you know, when you're looking at Brian Moore, this is at bantamweight 135. All of those fights, and you're talking about, you know, losses against someone like AJ McKee, the champion, a loss against Daniel Weichel, all at 145 pounds. Brian Moore has found his spot at 135. Now, that's not saying that this is going to be an easy fight. I am telling you, Nikita is dynamic. He is great with his foot sweeps, and he's good in the stand-up and on the ground.
If you can't see the skill in 45 seconds, you're not looking. Mikhailov.
See, beautiful.
That's good stuff.
Treetop that leg, brings it down, goes to the back. Technically just a very talented young fighter.
But this is a big step up for him, not just level of competition, but in experience on the other side.
This is a huge step up for him. I was very surprised when I saw this matchup based upon the experience of Brian Moore and how tough he is. They're asking a lot from Nikita in this fight. He's got the skill level to do it, but Brian Moore is a guy that no one gets past easily. Very smart, beautiful knees by Brian Moore, softening up the body.
Using that underhook, using the cage.
Mikhailov is trying to relax in the position, but he's trying to keep himself safe. And I say that's a smart move. Going out, beautiful high crotch, putting Moore on his butt.
That's a young fighter, a very young fighter who just stayed calm in a tough spot and completely reversed the position.
Exactly, now right again to the back. Brian Moore right now wants to fight the hands, break those hands. One of the things in MMA that you're allowed to do, look, when you can get those hands together, gable grip, S grip, all the different types of ways that guys are going to hold on, it's tough to get those hands apart. He needs to get those hands apart to get Nikita off of him. That is not anything right there. His legs, now he's got to, you see him with the arm. Now there's a difference, and he wants to suck that leg in. That's a lot tighter right now. This is a good position for Brian Moore. He's not in any danger. He cannot be hurt in any fashion right now, and he can put a lot of pressure on Mikhailov. But Mikhailov, as you notice, he's just relaxed, and Brian needs to be very careful about not just putting too much squeeze with his legs and just running his legs out.
Coming up now, the leg position isn't there.
Because he doesn't have the angle on this, it's not going to be a submission. You're not going to see Mikhailov tapping out to this or going unconscious.
That's it.
He's got to change that angle.
Nice and relaxed.
You don't see Russian fighters tapping, period. They will almost always choose B, nap.
Come over another arm and turn him over. We'd have the top position with it.
You see him going after the Kimura with the arm, holding on to that triangle, but you see, notice where his foot's at now. It's in the back of his calf. It's not near as tight, and that's why he let go of it.
What did he want Mikhailov to do there?
He wanted Mikhailov to roll from the Kimura that he had so he'd get up on top. Big shots.
Yeah, Brian Moore didn't get up quick.
That was a big shot.
Now he knows he's got to get up. This is twice we've seen very young Mikhailov turn dangerous, bad positions into offense quickly.
And notice how he's going after. This is what I've seen every time I've watched Mikhailov fight. He gets those opportunities, and watch him post up and land with big power.
And look at the damage.
Man, that elbow opened Brian Moore up.
40 seconds. 40 seconds, right? Left overhook and wrap up the head. There you wrap up the head. Just relax here, Brian.
You can hear Brian Moore's coach, John Kavanaugh, tell him, just relax, lock up the head, meaning pull him closer so you don't absorb any more damage at this moment.
How many 22-year-old fighters do you even see in their first pro fight, let alone at 7-1, in with a veteran like Brian Moore on a big stage like this? And Mikhailov is living up to the hype. That's an eye-opening round one. Like to play on words there?
I love the play on words because it's absolutely true. And you see this high crotch right here. Takes it, brings it down. There was moments for both fighters in this round. And, you know, Brian Moore was doing a good job. But that elbow right there, that's what opened up that cut.
But as you often say, the moments, Brian Moore had moments, but they were defensive moments.
For the most part, but he had moments of offense when you're looking at that triangle, but it was never a triangle that was going to end the fight. Yeah. So as the judge is looking at it, you're going to say, you know what, nice attempt, but it didn't get you anywhere. And you can see that's a big, nasty cut on Brian Moore's right eye. Mikhailov not having any problems with the coaching in his corner from Bellator light heavyweight champion Vadim Nemkov,
who did what he was supposed to do and really almost was a little too anxious, I thought, to end the fight with Julius Angliskas to make the point, yeah, I am that guy. Don't think I'm not.
Exactly. Beautiful spinning back fist.
Yep.
And you can take a look at those, you know, stats. All of the things that you saw from Moore were on the feet, those 7 to 12, but everything from Mikhailov, a lot of them on the ground, big heavy shots. And he, again, getting more to the ground, very important, takes him out of where he is strong in the stand-up, putting a lot of pressure on Brian Moore right now.
Sometimes the stats will tell you, sometimes you can look at Brian Moore's face. And that's a better indication than any number.
Again, goes to the high crotch, tries to go to the single leg.
And now what Nikita Mikhailov is realizing now is that he's in there with a serious pro.
Oh, he knows that he's in there with someone that is very good at just flowing with the fight. But again, Mikhailov takes that, drives it forward, gets him to the ground. And we're going to have to see what Brian Moore does to get himself back to his feet, because he cannot stay on his back. He has taken a lot of damage already from Nick. You got to just be in a position of that fence is there. You got to use it to get yourself back to your feet. Mikhailov is too dangerous on the ground with his ground and pound.
Be really interested to see when this is over what Brian Moore would have to say comparing Mikhailov at this age to when he fought A.J. McKee at 25.
24.
Yeah, 24.
Yeah.
Shoulder strike. Mikhailov is always thinking offense. What can I do from here?
Okay, that's 2 minutes down. 2 minutes down.
MMA royalty in that corner as well.
Brian needs to work himself back to that cage, use the cage as a balance point, and start to wall walk it to get back to his feet. Right now, as he's great fighting the legs, switches position, tries to get him to close guard, but this is not going to get him out of the position. He needs to open those legs up and explode, get a hand on the ground, start getting his back against that cage and working himself back to his feet. Nice job by Mikhailov to get him and turn him away from that cage.
Instead of his legs, it's the cut that's opening up. Courtesy of a nasty elbow strike from Mikhailov in round 1.
And again, at this point, you've got to do this at least. Yeah, you're giving your back, but you can't stay in the position you're at. You're going to be better off your feet. Brings him right back to the ground.
It's got to be a demoralizing moment when you spend all that time and energy trying to get back to your feet, and in the blink of an eye, you're right back down looking at the lights. In some ways, to me, John, performances like this for young fighters are more impressive. You'll look down and you'll say, oh, a 30-second knockout. That's one shot, right? This is a voluminous offensive performance from Mikhailov against a veteran, and he has basically countered him at every turn.
You're talking about just a tidal wave that just keeps flowing, and more is coming your way, and it's who he's doing it against that makes it all the more impressive.
You can put the shin across the chest.
That's what Bellator needs, another great young bantamweight, right?
Nice job by Brian to try to get himself back to his feet. He tried to explode there. And yet, after all of that explosion, all that energy burn, we're right back in that same position. You're right. That is demoralizing as a fighter.
This is going to be a 32-man Grand Prix before we're done. If you missed the news this week, Sergio Pettis will defend the bantamweight title against the former champion Horiguchi in December. So much conversation about a bantamweight Grand Prix next year, and how do you choose 8?
I don't think you can.
I don't think you can either.
And both of these guys right here are demonstrating the reason why.
Yeah. This is one of the things about Bellator that I think fans have sort of had to recondition to, is in the earlier days of the sport, you didn't see 22-year-old fighters. You weren't seeing them on the big stage. Seeing them, especially now they're doing it and they're performing like this.
Yeah, beautiful. Gets behind him, picks him up, body lock, takes him down, and then it's just the ground and pound that he hits him with. You know, that cut's already there. Beautiful left hand. That makes Brian move, because you can tell as soon as he's moving right away, it's telling you, that didn't feel good. I need to change the position, get myself so I can't get hit by another one.
Talking about young fighters, sometimes they don't know what they don't know. Veteran fighters do know what they know, and they know when they're down 2 rounds to none, and they know they have not figured out the puzzle yet.
Brian has been in these deep waters before. The one thing that, Mikhailov has been in, he's gone the full distance, but he's done it in dominating fashion, which basically he's doing again here today.
Brian Minor wants him to look at that cut again. Well, if you leave it up to Brian Moore, if he's going to continue, he'd be the Monty Python Black Knight. I mean, that's not the guy I'm going to. Do you want to continue? No.
He has, Mikhailov has gotten to that kick at the beginning of the round in each of the 3 rounds so far. See, and what has happened to Brian Moore so far is making him to where now he's hesitant in the stand-up. He's hesitant to overextend because he doesn't want to end up back on his back on the ground here. He's gonna get there again.
Really gets it hot. Yeah.
You notice how he bounced him off of the cage? Really good technique. Nice job by Mikhailov. He's trying to just drag him off to the left here. Put a lot of pressure on Brian. Brian's trying to work those hands. He cannot break the hands and the grip. And now he's getting his hooks in.
Team Fedor, give us a break.
He's going to look for a Suluev stretch here. That is a nasty submission if he gets it. He let go of it. He's looking for it again. What he's trying to do is extend that left leg of Brian Moore, putting a lot of pressure on that hamstring. Now he's switching it.
Was that a risk worth taking? Was it close enough?
And this is what happens when you go for leg locks. Is, you know, the leg locks can be that ender of the fight, but it can also put you in a bad position. And now, are the tables going to turn based upon one shot of that leg lock? Now Brian Moore's got his back. This would be big.
This could be a huge comeback. Mikhailov went for a crazy submission. Brian Moore's got the body lock on.
The choke isn't there right now, but Brian does have that body lock.
He can work from there. He had him in round one in more of a defensive position, trying to wait for Mikhailov to make a mistake that he never made. Brian Moore very nearly had the comeback against A.J. McKee.
And the second round of that fight with A.J. McKee, man, he was putting it on A.J. Had some great moments in that fight, and right now he's in a position. You notice how Mikhailov is controlling that right arm, because right now that's going to be what's going to lock that choke in. If he controls that, Brian's not going to have that choke.
And he switched to grab the other glove because he wanted to punch with his right hand.
When you have someone that is good with their defense against the rear naked choke, it's not. Everyone thinks this is so easy. Oh, it's not. There's a lot of things going on right now, and you just see how he's locking down the arm. You know, just when you're talking about someone grabbing your wrist right there, that glove ends up working against you because it's like a big stopper at the end. You can't just pull your hand through.
Is this an area of the sport where there's been tremendous evolution defending the rear naked choke?
Oh, absolutely. You know, guys are so much better now at their defense and understanding where they're going to be safe, what they have to control to keep themselves safe. But it only takes one move by Brian Moore to take that chest piece and move it into a position. Now it's in danger. And if it's not responded upon, he's going to end up with that checkmate.
Brian Moore in a great position in the round, but he's got 68 seconds left in a fight he is undoubtedly losing 2 rounds to none. Sharp elbows coming from Brian Moore, just trying to get him to make the one mistake.
Well, if he can land good elbows aside and get Mikhailov to move himself off, he can look to go to the arm, take an arm bar, but he keeps on looking back towards that rear naked choke. And right now, Mikhailov has done a great job of defending against it. There he goes for the arm. You see, notice what Mikhailov does with his arms. He entwines them like it's a rear naked choke to defend against it, but that can be beaten. But Brian needs to do the right things. He's got it if he takes the arm and brings it off towards the head.
He's running out of time. Well, Mikhailov showed us brilliant offense for 2 rounds, and then with the fight on the line, he defended himself for the final 3 minutes in a very dangerous spot to reach the finish line. The best case scenario for a young fighter is a win over a veteran, teachable moments, and survival. And it looks like Nikita Mikhailov has all of the above.
He looked fantastic. If you're, he made a mistake in that leg lock situation when he went for the Suluev stretch, and then he switched it off to the heel hook. It wasn't set right, and that's what allowed Brian Moore to get position on him, and that changed the round. It's not going to change the fight. Brian Moore wasn't able to get the first 2 rounds, but that I like the fact that Mikhailov went for it. Here was Brian Moore going for this arm bar. He sets it up. He's got a position. You see Mikhailov taking and controlling with a gable grip, sliding his arms into that lock position. But Brian Moore doing everything he can, ends up where at the end of it, the cage was actually keeping him from being able to extend and try to get that arm out. But great job by both fighters.
One thing we've learned about going to the judges' cards is you never ever know. And we've talked about fights that are difficult to judge, that can be complicated. This one didn't seem that way. This seems pretty straightforward.
No, this is not a hard fight to judge. There is no doubt that the first 2 rounds went to Nikolai Mikhailov.
The team Fedor always standing by social media wise, ready to TikTok the verdict. We think it's 2-1 for Mikhailov. Let's see what 2K has to say.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 hard-fought rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards. All of our 3 judges, Jacob Montalvo, Mike Bell, and Ben Cartledge, all had it 29-28 in favor of your winner by unanimous decision, Nikita Mikhailov.
Emotion does not need a translator, and we've seen these young Russian fighters already almost have these brilliant performances and then afterwards almost become overcome by the magnitude of the moment. Nikita Mikhailov gets the biggest win of his young career. He goes to 8-1, and he's with Mikhailov.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here with the winner, Nikita Mikhailov. Дамы и господа, победитель боя, Nikita Mikhailov. Congratulations on your Bellator debut victory. How are you feeling right now? How do you think the fight went? It looked pretty close. Поздравляю тебя с победой на дебюте в Беллаторе. Как ты сейчас себя ощущаешь? Как ты вообще чувствуешь, прошел бой? Выглядело достаточно близко. Расскажи.
Можно я сделаю? Фу! Слава Богу, все прошло. Это мой дебют в Беллаторе. Я рад, что я выиграл его. Я хочу сказать большое спасибо моей команде Fedor Team, Александр Невский. Сейчас в моем углу нет одного человека. Я думаю, он рад был бы моей победе сейчас. Владимир Михайлович. Хочу сказать большое спасибо моей команде, которая сейчас со мной в углу. Это Вадим Немков, чемпион 93 килограмма. Сергей Листартович, который мы большую работу проделали. Александр Васильевич, который в раздевалке сейчас. Всей моей большой команде. Спасибо моей жене Оле, она все выдержала. И хочу, конечно, сказать удачи с Божьей помощью, чтобы моя команда выиграла. И в том числе наш капитан Fedor. С Богом!
I want to take a breath and congratulate my whole team and thank Fedor Yemelyanenko, Alexander Nevsky, and everyone who is in the Fedor team and cornering me today. Unfortunately, there are some who couldn't be present. You're representing Fedor team. How does it feel to be fighting in the same fight card with Fedor Yemelyanenko? Ты представляешь команду Федора Емельяненко. Расскажи, каково это выступать в одном файт-карде, где также дерется Федор?
Это большая гордость, что я выступаю здесь. Большая ответственность очень давила на меня. Но я справился. Я горжусь, что я в этой команде. Очень сильно горжусь. Спасибо моим близким с Лисок, с Воронежа, со всей России, кто приехал. Я знаю, вы здесь. Я горд, что я выступаю за эту команду. Это лучшее.
It's a great honor to be representing Fedor team. And congratulations, Nikita Mikhailov. Дамы и господа, поздравим Никиту Михайлова.
As I said, when John and I got to Tokyo in 2015, nobody knew Nemkov, nobody knew Tokov. Now we all know Nikita Mikhailov. More prelim action to come from Moscow.
The hits keep coming on Showtime.
You don't want no trouble.
40 fight nights a year.
Oh, what a shot!
4 hard-hitting series.
With a phenomenal finish. When the lights and cameras on, he hit hard. It's not how you start. It's how you finish.
Showtime, the home of combat sports.
Hey, Bellator Nation, follow us across a large array of digital platforms and stay up to date on everything you need to know. Like us on the Bellator Facebook page and see exclusive videos. Follow us and get instant updates on Twitter at Bellator MMA and get a chance to have your tweet live on the broadcast. See amazing pictures on Instagram at Bellator MMA. Join Bellator Nation today.
Bellator is live from Moscow. As Russian legend Fedor Emelianenko returns home.
Big shots from Fedor. That's the GOAT.
For a collision with the #2 ranked heavyweight, American Tim Johnson.
Huge win for Johnson.
It's a historic Bellator battle when East meets West. Bellator MMA live from Moscow today on Showtime, where warriors rule.
And that's where we are headed with the eyes of the nation and the world, really, on Fedor Emelianenko every time he steps into the cage. The former heavyweight world champion Vitaly Minikov in the co-main event. But when you see that 0 next to that last name, it jumps off the page. It will be Usman Nurmagomedov's turn to extend that winning streak, not only his own, but of the family. For more on the latest Bellator phenom and the latest Dagestani Nurmagomedov, here's Gareth A. Davies.
Usman Nurmagomedov meets Patrick Pietila in an exciting matchup tonight that is sure to get the MMA chattering classes in full debate again. Indeed, after just 2 fights here in Bellator, Nurmagomedov already has a great following. The younger cousin of Khabib, he benefits greatly from his relation's guidance, alongside Javier Mendez at AKA in San Jose, where a group of men from Dagestan continue to mesmerize and dazzle us in global mixed martial arts. The likes of AJ McKee and Patricio Pitbull may be some way off, but with 8 KOs from a 13-fight undefeated run, Usman is on the way upward. Opposing Nurmagomedov in the cage is Patrick Pietila. Known for his durability, the big man from Finland is 11-8 in MMA, but he's only been stopped twice in that 19-pro career. Can Pietila make a name for himself here, or will Usman march onto the Moscow streets with his arm raised to add a new legion of fans? We shall soon find out, my Spartans.
And Gareth, of course, he's a heavy favorite, is Nurmagomedov. He struggled making weight this week. That was a concern. Missed some of his media obligations earlier in the week. It happens from time to time, particularly for a younger fighter. He has the tools. It's pretty clear. The last name, though, comes with weight.
It does come with weight, but the one thing when people are hearing his last name, they're picturing Khabib. And he does not fight like Khabib at all. He is not a ground-based fighter, although he's very good down there. He's got great wrestling. His ground and pound is vicious. It's his stand-up. He is so much better in the stand-up than Khabib. He is very clean on his feet. You think You know, you talk about 8 knockouts. He's got 3 submissions, 11 wins by stoppage in 13 fights. Pretty impressive.
Against a guy that, as Garrett told you, is tough to stop. We move down to the flyweight division now with a fighter that is generating some buzz in her home country. You don't earn the nickname Russian Ronda for nothing.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome into the cage, Stephanie Paige.
Extensive background in Muay Thai and kickboxing. And as we've started to see French fighters in MMA, now we're starting to see the female French fighters in MMA. It's all a matter of the evolution. They're going to be behind because the nation was behind in legalizing it, but it's good to see them at the party.
When you're talking about experience, though, you know, Stephanie's got over 100 Muay Thai fights. This is a very experienced fighter. She's very good at the stand-up. She likes to be aggressive in her fights, and her opponent is very similar. She likes to be in that stand-up position, so we'll see what happens in this fight. She is very good with her kicks.
Says she'll be #1 in this division in no time. It will start, obviously, with a win on this biggest stage of her young career. Juliana Velasquez, of course, holding the world title. Liz Carmouche with her dominant knockout looks to be #1 in line. Beast Kielholtz didn't hurt her chances with her performance, very nearly lifting the world title from Velasquez over the summer. Awful lot going on here as we get ready to turn the calendar to 2022 in Bellator.
And now about to make her entrance, Irina Alexeyeva.
Irina Alexeyeva coming off her first loss in her last fight. Lost a decision. She, like so many fighters, has been inactive for a while. 3-time Sambo world champion, judo black belt. Now, John, I got to point this out because you don't really have a choice. When a fighter says, when asked how the fight's going to go, says, if I cut weight well, I'll win, and then doesn't make weight, it's hard not to lead with that.
It's not the way you want to lead yourself into your debut fight, but I will tell you that this young woman can really fight. She is strong in the stand-up. She's got good judo. Her throws are good. She does go after the Kizakatami or the scarf hold a lot, which sometimes doesn't work well for you in MMA because someone can take your back, but she's good everywhere. So this is a great matchup, one that's going to be very interesting.
Training partner of Diana Avsaragova, who has had a lot of success early in her young career in the Bellator cage. Two fighters that think they are on their way towards the title at 125. Let's check out the tail of the tape.
Our tail of the tape for this fight, big thing you can look at, the height difference. Is it going to be a difference? I don't think it will be. This should be a very close matchup.
And you see how much Alexeyeva missed weight by. It's a Tukake.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I would like to welcome all those joining us live in the UK on BBC iPlayer. Our next prelim fight here at Bellator 269 is in the contract weight of 130 pounds, scheduled for 3 rounds. Introducing first the fighter in the blue corner, standing 5'4", weighing in at 124.5 pounds, holding a professional record of 5 wins and 2 losses. Fighting out of Le Conquet, France. Ladies and gentlemen, here is Stephanie Paige. And introducing her opponent across the cage in the red corner, standing 5'8", weighing in at 129.9 pounds. Her record, 3 wins, 1 defeat. Hailing from Chelyabinsk, Russia, would you please welcome Irina Russian Ronda Alexeyeva. The referee in charge will be Kevin McDonald.
Could have been worse, John. At least they didn't make this a 205 fight.
This is true.
Tune in early on YouTube. You never know what you're going to hear. But the size difference is obvious. Even you had the height to begin with. And if you're missing weight to start with, you know, who knows what you're weighing by the time you come in the cage.
There is a big size difference, and you're right about that. That weight difference could be, but a lot of it is the skill level. And I'm telling you, Stephanie Paige is very good on her feet. So the length of, you know, Irina, I'm not sure it's going to be that much of a benefit to her because Paige has seen all of that in the past.
Look right away at her lines that she takes. You can see all the experience. It's obvious, like, right away.
Yep, and exactly, beautiful right hand there.
Yep.
You're seeing that Irina is already starting to chase her. You know, that's not good. You cut her off. You don't chase, because when you're chasing, she's leading you into a path that she has a plan for.
And as you said, Alexeyeva, a little bit of a risk taker, which also becomes even riskier against a very disciplined, experienced fighter, particularly in the stand-up.
And this is actually very smart by Alexeyeva, because this is where she has an advantage in this fight. If she can get it to the ground, she does have a good, solid ground game, very good base. And it takes Paige completely out of where she is the best.
She used the judo background to get her down to the ground. Love that outside trip.
Right now you're seeing Paige has got double unders, but with a lot of judo players, they love the overhook. They use it for their throws. So when you're looking at Irina with these overhooks, that's not a bad position. She's comfortable with that.
Paige having trouble just getting her hands clasped. Alexeyeva had about 45 seconds in the stand-up and said, no, you know what? We need to go over here.
Which makes her a smart fighter.
Yep.
What she's doing right now, it's not, you know, it's not super exciting to people and it's not glamorous, but it is effective and it is exhausting and it's damaging. You take a lot of shots, a lot of knees to the body, to the thighs. It slows your footwork down. All of this is beneficial to her getting a win at the end of this fight.
Hunting for that trip.
She was looking for it. Paige really needs to separate here if she can.
That was about 2 minutes along the fence. Let's see if that slowed Paige down at all.
Right where she's
trying to draw right back to the middle.
That's perfect. That's a smart fighter. You know, come to where I want you to be. I don't want you to be able to push me against the cage. Nice overhand right by Paige.
She used that tie clinch to slow her down, and then she got that right with that big reach advantage she has, and got Paige right back where she wants her.
Nice Nice step over by Paige, not to allow the trip to happen. All of this is, again, good work. You saw her, just taking it at the right hand to the thigh. Doesn't look like much, but Charlie Horse's work. I mean, they make the muscle tighten up, and that makes you not as effective, not as fluid in your movement.
You're not bouncing around as much after that.
Nice outside
She's looked for that for most of the first round.
If you're going to end up on the ground with her with only 20 seconds left, not a bad time to do it. Just keep yourself safe. There is a neck crank there, but she's not going to be able to get it.
Alexey with the bully in round one. You said there wasn't a lot of necessarily offense that would be obvious along the fence, but that's enough damage to win that round.
Oh, no doubt about it. Irina Alexeyeva, she won the round. She was the one that decided where it was going to happen. There was a lot of things happening, in the fight. Obviously, Paige, is the better stand-up fighter, which we expected. Beautiful low kick right to the hamstring, left hand, right hand by Alexeyeva, but really those are to drive her back, get that clinch, get her against the cage where she can do the work that she's been doing. Paige is going to need to figure out a way to keep herself in the center of the cage.
I always loved your perspective, having been there from the beginning. When did the ice pack on the chest, when did that really become a thing that everybody was doing?
When everybody was doing it, it was probably somewhere into the beginnings of UFC 25, 26, somewhere in there. It became popular, but it does start to cool you down a little bit. It helps you get a little bit, your heart rate coming down. It's a smart technique to use by the trainers.
It's when you watch the old stuff, if your VHS tapes are all broken, though, VHS tapes they used to sell, but you get in your Google machine.
And lateral movement by Stephanie Paige will keep her from putting her back on the cage. She cannot take like that pressure right there and move backwards. She needs to move laterally. Oh, you can see the damage that
damage.
One shot did.
You can look closely at the left leg of Alexey.
Already the mark is there. That one kick did as much damage as all the things that Alexeyeva did in the first round to Paige up against the cage.
Keep an eye on Alexeyeva's balance, just the way she's moving.
And when you're having somebody put pressure on you like you're seeing from Alexeyeva right now, what Paige needs to do, she did it just a moment ago, that teep kick, an offensive attack coming forward, get her to back off and then circle out. You're going to be right in the middle of the cage where you want to be instead of up against the cage where you don't.
Second round begins the same way the first did, about a minute plus of stand-up, and Alexeyeva saying, enough of this.
This is exactly where Irina Alexeyeva wants to be. On the ground, taking Stephanie Paige completely out of where she is dangerous in the stand-up, and making this a ground fight. She can pick her shots. She can move for submissions. This right now can't play out any better for her. She needs to be very careful with that right leg of Stephanie Paige. She's trying to control the ankle, but her head is right over the top of it.
You could have 400 Muay Thai kickboxing fights. It's not going to help you in this spot.
No, because you never in any of those fights were in this position unless you got knocked down, and no one at that moment was trying to do more damage to you. Nice job by Stephanie Paige to explode, get herself back to her feet at least.
She's looked very good in the stand-up, as you would expect. That knee made some contact.
Nice knee. Very well placed, smart by Irina.
This time looking for an inside trip.
And she's starting to get a little too far forward, though.
Explain what you mean when you say that.
When you're seeing and she's got that overhook and she's trying to drag and she's trying to step her leg through so she can get that throw, you can get to the point where your opponent's able to just hook their legs right around your body, and now they have your back.
Paige through the knee. Alexey saw it coming and was able to get underneath, and now is in a very dominant position.
Yeah, when she caught that, nice job of bringing her to her and dropping weight down on top of her. She used that throw like it was a strike.
If you're the bigger, stronger, heavier fighter, fight like the bigger, stronger, heavier fighter.
Absolutely. Good point.
I'm good for one or two. We are about an hour away from going live on Showtime. The main card. Obviously, will be highlighted in the main event by return of Fedor Emelianenko. Has not fought in Russia in 5 years. Hasn't fought in Moscow in 10.
Got a good neck crank going right now. It's tight. She's got a good neck crank. There's a lot of pressure on her right now. Paige is putting up with it. She got a little bit high. What she wants to do is drive her hip into her and arch her back to make that head start to go towards the right shoulder, but she's unable to do it at this point. Right now, Stephanie is safe. Irina is getting out of position. She should let go of it if she doesn't have it. If you realize it's not going to work, don't lose the position.
She's bowling her way to another round. The way this fight started, Alexey looked wild, a little uncomfortable, and Stephanie Paige looked like the veteran who was in command in the center of the cage. Now, once Alexey had made it her fight, it hasn't been close. You saw that damage. That leg kick almost woke Alexey up again early in the second round. Like, wait a minute, what am I doing here? This is not where the fight should be.
She's landed several of those kicks, and that last one that she landed was very strong. Here's what I like. Notice how she brings her weight down with her. That comes from judo. The throws, you never want to just put your opponent down. You want to bring your weight on top of theirs so they get impacted by all of your weight. Really nice takedown by Alexey.
Stephanie Paige trying to almost shake off the damage a little bit. And she knows what she has to do, but can she do it in round 3?
35.
Five of Paige's 7 pro fights have gone the distance. She only has 1 knockout. If a fighter continues to have trouble making weight, it's when do you ask the question? Do you go up?
I look. It's very simple. You don't make weight twice. It's time for you to go to the next weight class. You're saying that you're draining your body so much trying to keep yourself in one weight class. Obviously, that's not the weight class for you. So that's why there's one above you. You know, start switching it up. Get yourself into that upper weight class and just move on with your career, because you're going to kill yourself trying to drop that weight.
Shot kidney by Paige as Alexey went for another one of those spinning kicks.
Paige needs to up the tempo on her attack. She's a little bit concerned about getting into that clinch position again, but the only way that you're going to do damage and make it so those clinches don't happen is to land shots and put your opponent on the defense.
Tactically, it makes sense, but not when you're down 2-0.
This is true. Irina doing a much better job of cutting the cage off, checking that movement of Paige, stepping off to the side where she's moving and making it to where she has to stop.
See, Alexey isn't moving great for those leg kicks.
No,
taking that big one in the second round.
That front leg is tight. There's no doubt about it.
Body kick by Alexey. Again, she's landing good shots, but she is not moving well at all.
Look at how stiff she is on that front leg a lot of the time. And that's because that muscle is taking a lot of damage from those kicks.
If it hurts now, wait till tomorrow morning.
Oh, it won't take till tomorrow morning. It'll happen tonight. She'll be walking around not feeling real good about the way that leg is.
We were in Phoenix last week. I saw Slava Parubchenko on the street the next day, and after the kick he took from Henry Corrales, he was just dragging that front foot. That's what you don't see. You know, you don't see the morning after. That's not on pay-per-view.
No, but it definitely is painful. This is what fighters go through. Alexey right back to that clinch position. She's been dominant here. She's been able to change this fight, make it the way that she wants to attack her opponent. Nice job by Paige to get out. Smart moving back to the center.
She escapes, but she's got 100 seconds to make something happen. She's done damage with the leg kicks, but she hasn't been able to set up anything else off of them.
She does a great job of hiding that kick behind her hands, though, and she did exactly what I would have said I want to see her do. You've got to go with combinations now. It's not the 1-2. It's got to be the 3, 4s, and 5s.
You don't think hiding your hands behind the kicks can be effective? Ask Patricio Pitbull. That's how AJ McKee became the featherweight world champion. We headed for a rematch there. Patricio's older brother Patricky fighting for the lightweight world title in 2 weeks in Dublin against Peter Queally. Plenty of world title fights coming up. Chris Cyborg will defend her featherweight world title on November 12th. And Sergio Pettis Horiguchi bantamweight title fight that is going to be fascinating to watch. What's Paige trying to do here? What's her best case?
Well, right now she's got a lock where she's got that arm in the position. It's almost what we call 100% position, but she doesn't have anything at this time. There you go.
Now she does.
Yeah, now she does, but again, lost position. And that's because she had no way to attach her body to Alexey. That's what her legs are there for, and those were on the ground.
She was going for the Hail Marys as she had to do in the final seconds. Alexey gets to the finish line. First couple of minutes here, John, I thought, boy, Alexey might be in some trouble here against a very professional, disciplined fighter, but she imposed her will and put her stamp on this fight.
Yeah, she did exactly what you want to see from a fighter that's becoming more seasoned. She understood where she was strong and then moved herself to get to those positions throughout the fight, and that was the difference. That's why I think she's going to get the victory.
There's a look on a fighter's face when they know they may raise their glove when the decision's being read, but they kind of know how it went. And when it didn't go according to the plan that they've been working for the last couple of months.
I mean, you can just look at body language in her corner, look at what her coach is doing. So they know. There's not a real doubt about which way they think this fight's going to go, but there's things that they can look at from their fighter that they can just improve on little things and next time come out with the victory.
Saragova coming off consecutive wins inside the Bellator cage. See her back before long. Always those moments when it takes so long that you're sort of starting to second guess the way you saw it, and maybe it was more complicated than we thought, but 2KK has the answer.
Ladies and gentlemen, after three rounds of action, we go to the scorecards. Here are the score totals. Mike Bell and Jacob Montalvo both had it 32-27. Brian Miner scored the bout 29-28 in favor of your winner by unanimous decision, Irina Russian Ronda Alexeyeva.
Irina Alexeyeva gets back in the win column. Facing a very, very experienced fighter. Her teammate and training partner. A lot of emotion, as there has been in almost all of these fights. Irina Alexeyeva is with Mikhailov.
I'm here with the winner, Irina Alexeyeva. Irina Alexeyeva, поздравляю тебя с победой. Bellator has got a really strong women flyweight division. Do you see yourself in that division? And if so, where do you see yourself? В Bellator очень сильный дивизион легчайшего веса. Видишь ли ты себя в этом дивизионе? Если да, где именно ты видишь себя?
Привет, Москва. Хочу поблагодарить Лигу Bellator за то, что они меня подписали, за то, что дали мне возможность здесь выступать. Я очень благодарна вам. Тяжело мне очень было согнать в эту весовую категорию. Я подумываю 66, конечно же. Надеюсь, проведу еще несколько боев, если получится в 57. Но если будет очень тяжело гонять, хочу провести пару боев в 66, и потом с Крис Сайберг хочу бой, потому что она мой любимый боец. И так как я уже боец сама возрастной, я бы хотела под конец, там ближе к своей карьере, подраться с сильнейшей женщиной мира.
Thank you very much, Bellator, for giving me opportunity to fight. I actually find it really hard to cut weight, so I might have to start with a higher weight division, but I'll give it a try. And I'd like to fight Cyborg. That's always been my ambition. У тебя очень интересный никнейм. Скажи, пожалуйста, что он значит, кличка, по которой ты дерешься. You've got a very interesting nickname. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Хочу сказать про никнейм то, что меня так народ прозвал, я себя так никогда не называла, но это только чисто из-за внешнего сходства. Ну, может быть, еще то, что потому что я дзюдоистка, которая перешла в ММА, в принципе, как и Ронда Роузи. Ну, когда я чуть-чуть на массе, с пухлыми щечками, я на нее больше похожа, чем сейчас.
This nickname was not given to me by my friends. I did not invent it myself. It's because I'm also into judo, and my friends find a lot of resemblance with Ronda Rousey when I'm a little bit heavier than I am now. Congratulations, Irina Alexeyeva. Дамы и господа, поздравим Ирину Алексееву.
One of the cool things so far is the stereotype about the stoic Russian fighter. All we've seen is emotion after emotion, but maybe that's because the greatest of all time was also the all-time leader in stoicism. One thing about these later day Fedor fights is that they have been explosive, they have been quick. This figures to be no different as Fedor Emelianenko on the 18th hole welcomes American Tim Johnson to the main event coming up later on Showtime. For more, here's Gareth A. Davies.
Prepare for a partisan reception and a stentorian crowd for the arrival in the cage of Fedor Emelianenko tonight against highly ranked heavyweight Tim Johnson in an intriguing main event. One of Russia's foremost sports icons and one of the greatest fighters in the history of combat sports, Fedor is referred to as the last emperor for good reason, having dominated the blue ribbon division for almost a decade undefeated. It beggars belief that the great fighter dominated every stylist during the halcyon era, a pantheon of greats, from Mirko Krokop to Mark Coleman to Antonio Rodrigo Nogueira. Big Nog. OMG, you might say, as the OG steps up for his 46th fight tonight, returning to Moscow for the first time in almost a decade on the back of a dominant beatdown of Quinton Rampage Jackson. As Fedor's 76% win ratio by KO, TKO or submission indicates, he's not a man given to relying on the judges either, and he leaves it all in the cage. Well, 45-year-old Emelianenko has a kindred warrior spirit in Johnson, 9 years his junior, who has heavy hands and a giant heart, guts and stamina. A fight with Fedor is on every elite heavyweight's bucket list. So will Johnson spoil the party tonight and land clean? Or will Fedor fulfill his assignment against the American and bring the walls down in Moscow? Fedor, Pajalusta for the many great years and the many great memories.
We'll get to see Fedor Emelianenko walk to the cage in Moscow. That will be a stunning moment, without question, when he walks into that building. Now, years ago, Alima Leigh McFarland made her Bellator debut, getting all kinds of viral attention for all the wrong reasons. Darina Mazdyuk, pretty much the same story, but an interesting one, no doubt.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome into the cage, Katarzyna Sadura.
About the Eastern European fighters, we don't hear a lot about MMA, great MMA fighters coming out of Poland. Katarzyna Sadura would like to change all that. She stepped in with, has talked about high level of competition, John. She's been in there with Sinead Kavanaugh, of course, going to fight Chris Cyborg for the world title coming up next month in Hollywood, Florida. But again, records can sometimes be misleading when you've been in there with elite fighters and you're not afraid to take big fights.
Well, look at Poland has had some incredible fighters. If we're going to talk about it, look at you talk about women's MMA. Let's talk about Joanna Jędrzejczyk. Just incredible. You got Jan Blachowicz, who's right now the light heavyweight champion over another organization. Poland is just complete with tough people. And the one thing that we've seen out of Sadura, she is tough. She will put up with a lot of things in the cage to get to where she wants to be. She likes the stand-up, but she's been working on her ground and thinks that's where she's becoming strong.
There's other organizations.
Yes, there are.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, making her entrance, Darina Mazdyuk.
I can tell you that Darina Mazdyuk is part of the law faculty at Thompson State University. But you know what? That's not what anyone wants to talk about. They want to talk about the viral video of her fighting and beating a 500-pound male blogger who was, I was going to say Jake Paul, but take like 3 or 4 Jake Pauls who never worked out. And you know what? It was a spectacle, obviously. When you asked me about it before, John, I said it's catnip, right? This video, you can't help but watch it. But we knew Alima Lane McFarland for the fight with the quote-unquote soccer mom, right? That put her on the map. Nobody talks about that anymore because she became a dominant world champion, and that is the same path that Darina Mazdyuk wants to take.
I think what Darina Mazdyuk did is she looked at certain things. How do I get seen? And the way to get seen is fight against a 500-some-pound man. She did, and she won.
The tail of the tape, neither of these fighters will come in at 500 pounds.
Our tail of the tape for this flyweight matchup, very even, but the reach advantage with Sadura is there. Can she use that as a tool against Mazdyuk? We're going to find out.
To our ring announcer, Tukake.
Ladies and gentlemen, all of you joining us live on Oko in Russia, we welcome you as we continue the action in the flyweight division. This bout is scheduled for 3 rounds. Introducing first, the fighter in the blue corner, standing 5'7", weighing in at 125.5 pounds. Her professional record, 4 wins, 4 defeats. Hailing from Lodz, Poland, please welcome Katarzyna Sadura. And introducing her opponent in the red corner, standing 5'6", weighing in at 125 pounds, holding a record of 4 wins and 1 defeat, fighting out of Moscow, Russia. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Darina Red Queen Mazdyuk. Ladies and gentlemen, the referee in charge will be Kevin McDonald.
I wonder what Kevin would do if somebody said no.
He would say, go.
Mazdyuk coming up very aggressively. She's really a fascinating story. I said the YouTube video will be the first thing she gets asked about, but it's a master of sports in Kyoshin Karate.
Nice right hand. She landed right there.
And another master of sports in rifle shooting.
She does wing her shot. She comes from the side a lot, and the one thing she's got to do is keep her chin down. You'll notice that she starts to pick her chin up, and if Sadura sees that, she can land a shot that could end this fight.
Those looping shots also leave you open for the body kick.
They leave you open for a lot of things, especially someone when you're looking at Sadura. She comes with a lot of straight shots down the middle. Nice straight right hand again. Those get there quick.
Roman combinations. Mazdyuk a little more careful.
Another shot she just landed. See the right side of Mazdyuk's face is already bright red.
Latest installment in Where in the World Has John been? Lodz, Poland?
I've been to Lodz, Poland.
You have.
Poland's a great place. I mean, the one thing I call them hardy people because they're all just tough, strong, hardworking. It's a great place to go to.
Lodz, third largest city, kind of a manufacturing city. Occupied during World War II.
That exactly what you saw with the right hand. The first right hand from Darina is what she needs to go back to. Stop winging it from the side, straight down the pipe.
Got Got Sadura on the move. Yeah, you can see the damage he did. That last combination.
And you go back to that spectacle fight that she had with the 500-pound. The one thing that you saw out of her is she's a gamer, because when a 500-pound man grabs a hold and stuffs you into the cage, there's a lot of pressure there and a lot of people can panic. She didn't. She made her way through it and then ended up beating him.
I'm going to take your word for it, because that's never happened.
And I hope it never does.
So if there was a 500-pounder around in Fedor's prime, he would have fought him. He would have made the list. There was no shape, no size, no skill level, no background, which is what makes the iconic win streak something that will never be matched. Spinning back elbow.
Nice attempt by Mazdyuk with the spinning attack. Mazdyuk is having a lot of problems with the length of Sadura. She's coming inside, trying to land shots, but she's been getting hit with a lot of the power of Sadura, and Sadura's shots are starting to have effect. You saw how she just reacted to a feint there.
And the looping shots make it even harder.
Because the looping shots, they take a long time to land, and so you've got to set it up and hide it behind other things. And when that's all you're throwing is one big loop, it's easy to see, easy to counter. Nice right hand by Sadura.
She's trying to get inside. You can see Mazdyuk wants to get inside. She's paying a price every time.
That lead leg is starting to get eaten up. There she went in an attempt to block.
Mazdyuk not moving well now, up front leg.
Right now, it's the technical skill of Sadura. You know, she's got 8 pro fights. You can see there's a little bit of a difference in the way she's approaching the encounters compared to the way Mazdyuk is. And that's the difference when you're fighting someone that's been in there more. You've got to find those areas. Nice right hand again by Sadura.
Talked about hiding the hands behind the kick. Good job by Sadura late in the round. That's a good first round. Katarzyna, Sadura. Siberian born. Lived in Moscow most of her life. Won 3 straight.
Nice kick to the body. That little left hook over the top. The encounters, when they exchanged, it was always Sadura seeming to land the better shot. That wasn't much there, but then comes up with a kick under the arm. Nice right hand. Not a whole lot of power on it, but right at the end of the round, she did land a shot that definitely hurt Mazdyuk.
Always that difficult in between rounds when the things that usually work for you don't. And pretty easy call in that first round.
Pretty easy call. The better shots, more volume, everything went to Sadura. Mazdyuk needs to really set herself into saying, I've got to come inside, I've got to keep my chin down, and I've got to throw straight shots.
See, they both thrown the exact same number of shots. Mazdyuk trying to catch the leg. Sadura is longer. She is more disciplined in the stand-up. Those are two difficult things to overcome.
She's just landed the heavier shots and more of them right now. Those shots, you know, they just break you down, you know, slowly and systematically, and that's what fighting is. It's not that you have to get there right away. It's just how do you maneuver this to land enough shots to get the fight where you want it to be. Sadura getting a little bit away from the straight punches that she was throwing early. She needs to go back to that.
Can that be fatigue? What causes that?
It can be. You know, your technique starts to wane a little bit when you get tired. So she needs to go right back to settle down. If you have to break away, take a couple of deep breaths, re-engage, and then come back to doing what made you successful in that first round.
Those leg kicks have put some damage on Mazdyuk. You can see the way she is moving, and it's not good.
No, she's very stiff on that front leg. You see it hurts her as she steps on it. Nice right hand. That's what I'm talking about. Then she switches stances. She should never be going to that southpaw stance. She does much better. Sadura's doing much better from the orthodox.
You can see the damage that the kicks of Mazdyuk have done too, and both fighters have been substantially slowed down.
Again, one good kick by Mazdyuk there, but a good kick and a nice right hand. Again, right hand landing by Sadura. She's just getting more shots off that are being more accurate.
Here comes one. You can see that coming because Mazdyuk can't get out of there quickly.
She really does. She's raising her chin up too, which can be dangerous for her.
That was not much of an attempt at a level change. It was the first attempt of any kind. And now Mazdyuk with her back against the cage. A little spinning back kick trying to press her there. Cuts her off. And this is an accumulation of shots here.
Yes, it is.
And we are at the finish line. And we're done. That was not one shot. That was an accumulation of blows early in the fight from Sadura. And I think the realization between the pain she was clearly dealing with in her front leg and the fact that she couldn't figure out the puzzle, that there was no way out.
Things just kept on building up, and that's what fighting is. It's a matter of you're laying those bricks to make that wall that eventually just crashes down on your opponent. That's exactly how Sadura gets this win. Watch what happens here. Nice kick. Right hand touches a little bit. The left touches. But Mazdyuk has had a lot of shots hit her, and even in this position, you can tell there's not why are you going to get your arm trapped? She can't stop the shots. That's why referee Kevin McDonald stops it. It's a good stoppage because she was just exhausted, beat down by a volume of heavy strikes.
I don't know if that was building the wall so much as kicking the bricks out of the wall
and having them all fall on you.
That was I'm done. McDonald gave her every chance. So call it an upset if you want, but the more experienced stand-up fighter really showed.
I don't think that's an upset at all. I actually thought that Sadura had the advantage in the fight. I thought that she had the cleaner stand-up. I thought that obviously Mazdyuk comes in with the viral video that everyone wants to see, but it's about your skill set.
Her head coach, her fiance. Shurkevich will make this one official for Katarzyna Sadura.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have time of 3 minutes and 17 seconds into the round number 2 when our referee in charge, Kevin McDonald, steps in and calls a halt to the contest. Your winner by TKO, Katarzyna Sadura.
Great sportsmanship, a very hotly contested fight, and a lot of damage inflicted by both, but an impressive win for Katarzyna Sadura. We go live on Showtime at the top of the hour. Everyone's talking about Fedor without question. An undefeated, rising young prospect, the former heavyweight world champion. But by the time 2022 is over, John McCarthy, if you don't know the name Anatoly Tokov, you will.
No doubt about it, because Anatoly Tokov is one of the best middleweight fighters in the world. The guy is special. You've seen him for years now. I was refereeing him. Now I get to call his fights. The guy is just a tank. He's great in the stand-up. He's great on the ground. He's a phenomenal fighter.
We will end the night with a heavyweight fight in the main event with Fedor Emelianenko and Tim Johnson. We end our prelims with a heavyweight fight. And Kirill Sidelnikov has been a very experienced fighter. We have seen him inside the Bellator cage. We have seen him in Ryzen, and it's usually a lot of action.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, we welcome to the cage, Rob Truedale.
Scottish MMA has its proud history. Rob Truedale, the veteran. And you gotta love a fighter who, when asked about chasing the karate belts and the judo belts he did early in his career, quotes Mr. Miyagi and says, "Belts are for holding your pants up. I want to become an MMA fighter exclusively." And he has done that. He's a tough veteran who has been in some wars.
Talking about a man walking out to the bare necessities of life. This is what we're talking about here, Sean. You gotta love this. Look, the one thing he knows coming into this, he's coming in against a very good fighter. But he says, look, my whole thing is to prove how good I am. He's gonna have his opportunity right now.
Sounds like one of those songs you pick because you don't want to pay rights fees.
And now we welcome his opponent, Kirill Sidelnikov.
The veteran of Team Fedor, 33-year-old Kirill Sidelnikov. He is another one of those fighters who has been inactive because of the pandemic. A couple of fights in Bellator. His last was a win, but it was 2 years ago.
Sidelnikov came into MMA, had a ton of pressure because basically everyone gave him the nickname of Baby Fedor because he started training with Fedor and everyone expected the same things out of him. It was too much for a young fighter to actually deal with. You were talking about, one of the greatest of all times, and everyone's now comparing you. That's too much. He is now a grown man. He's gained weight, but it's actually good for him. He fights better with the weight. He's got gas, and he's got a lot of power in his hands and still has speed.
Think about being the only guy as opposed to all the young fighters he has now that sort of push each other. The tail of the tape at heavyweight.
Our tail of the tape for this heavyweight matchup. You can look at everything right there, but the real thing is that record of 12-6, Sidelnikov 10-7 for Rob Truedale. We're going to see who gets the win tonight.
To Michael C. Williams.
For all those with us tonight live in the UK, we welcome you on BBC iPlayer to VTB Arena here in Moscow, where at Bellator 269, the time has come to conclude the prelims. We'll do it with 3 5-minute rounds in the heavyweight division. introducing the blue corner at 6'1", weighing in 247 pounds even in his Bellator debut. He stands with 10 professional victories, 7 losses, 1 draw from Aloha, Scotland, Rab Truedale. And across the cage, his adversary fighting out of the red corner at 5'11", weighing in 264 pounds. As a professional, he brings 12 victories, 6 defeats, fighting out of Sidelnikov, Russia, introducing Kirill Sidelnikov. In charge, your referee, Jacob Montalvo.
Ready? Ready?
I guess you probably didn't need me to tell you we're at heavyweight.
I think the big difference you're going to see in the beginning of this is the hand speed of Sidelnikov versus Rab. Rab is he's what I call a brawler. He comes out there to throw down, comes out there to land big shots, but he does not have the hand speed of Sidelnikov.
Which, of course, is the Fedor trademark.
Absolutely.
Quick short left got in there. Nice little check hook.
And you could tell that that little thing hurt Rab already.
That one did too.
Let's take a look by his reaction, and all of a sudden covering up quickly on the inside. And he's getting touched.
He is a lot. Already the damage is apparent. Sidelnikov coming out strong.
Nice right hand to the body.
Truedale has only been knocked out once in 18 professional fights. Little trip by Sidelnikov, and now he is pouring it on. And those early shots paying dividends as Truedale was too slow to move out of the way to taking the damage. That arm, he had the arm trap. Truedale does a good job to get his right arm free.
You saw the body position of Sidelnikov. Notice how he was all postured. Now he's postured back up. That creates, he's able to create a lot of power from this position.
Got the arm trapped again. Dropping big elbows.
Yeah,
these are big shots.
Rab is in real trouble. That elbow.
Jacob Montalvo needs him to move. He doesn't, so it's over. For these Russian fighters who put so much pressure on themselves to fight and have success on this night.
Absolutely, there's a ton of pressure on Sidelnikov, but he's had that his entire career.
You're exactly right.
And it's his ability now, as a man of 33 years of age, he's able to deal with it. He understands exactly, who he is and what he needs to do when he goes in there. That was a very smart and effective fight. Sidel was beating him in the stand-up, ends up putting him on the ground where you can't be hurt by him, and I can do damage, and that's what he did. Take a look. Right here was the takedown, and when Rab comes, he gets hit by that jab. He brings his leg back up. Here comes that leg up. Sidelnikov catches it. Just a little bit of a push. Rab's now on the ground. Truedale in trouble because the positioning of Sidel, look at him, goes right after those shots, quick hands, and then stays within that postured position to land heavy shots. And it was one elbow that just landed. It was a right elbow that definitely started the downfall where Rab was unable to recover.
First time inside the cage in 2 years is an easy win for Kirill Sidelnikov. Michael C. Williams has the word.
Ladies and gentlemen, inside the Bellator cage, referee Jacob Montalvo steps in, waves off the contest due to unanswered strikes. Your official time, 2 minutes, 1 second in round number 1. The winner by TKO, Kirill Sidelnikov.
2 years away from the cage, Kirill Sidelnikov comes back with a 2-minute first-round win, his 13th as a pro. He's standing by with Mikhailov.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here with the winner, Kirill Sidelnikov. Поздравим Кирилла Сидельникова с победой. Поздравляю тебя. This is your 3rd fight in Bellator. This is your 1st knockout victory. And it is in your home soil in Russia. Tell us about how that feels. Это твой 3-й бой в Беллаторе, твоя 1-я досрочная победа. Расскажи твои ощущения выступать в твоей родной стране.
Добрый вечер, Москва. Рад всех приветствовать. Огромное спасибо всем, кто сегодня здесь собрался. Я слышал вашу поддержку, когда шел, просто вы не представляете, как это все заряжает. Огромное вам спасибо за то, что вы в такое тяжелое время пришли поддержать нас, бойцов, здесь. Огромное уважение вам. Спасибо. По поводу моей 3-го боя и досрочно, ну, буду идти вперед, еще много победы, только все впереди.
Thank you to everyone in the crowd for your support. I really felt it. And regarding my 3rd fight in the Bellator, this is only the beginning. I'm going to keep going forward. Расскажи, пожалуйста, твоя вот такое эффектное выступление сегодня, возможно, дает тебе возможность встретиться с рейтинговым бойцом. С кем бы ты, возможно, хотел встретиться? A victory such as tonight perhaps gives you a chance to face a rated fighter. Who would you like to face?
На самом деле, я давно уже созрел для хороших бойцов. Я готов драться, поэтому мне без разницы будет с кем драться. Кого дадут, всем только. И в любое время. Осталось только визу сделать, и все впереди еще будет.
I'm ready to face any fighter, anyone that Bellator gives me. I'll accept. The only thing I have to do is get a visa. И 3-й вопрос. You're fighting in Fedor's team. How does it feel to be on the same card as Fedor Емельяненко? Ты представляешь команду Федора Емельяненко. Расскажи, что для тебя значит драться с ним в одном карде?
Мне этот вопрос часто задают. На самом деле, это по жизни огромная мотивация. Мотивация и благодарность на всю жизнь Федору за то, что он протоптал эту дорогу всем нам, бойцам, а мы по ней идем уже. Поэтому ему огромное спасибо. И хотелось бы пожелать ему впереди удачи. За него молимся. И Анатолию, и Федору только удачи. Вы поддержите их погромче.
I'm extremely honored and grateful to Fedor for paving the way for Russian fighters. And all I want to do is wish him luck in his upcoming fight.
Хотелось бы еще сказать, передать моему сыну, которому недавно было год, что эту победу я посвящаю ему. Я не был на твоем дне рождения, сын, но ты когда-нибудь вырастешь и это посмотришь. Это все для тебя.
And I dedicate this victory to my son who recently turned 1 year old. Ladies and gentlemen, your winner, Kirill Sidelnikov. Ваш победитель, Kirill Sidelnikov.
You can read, you don't have to speak Russian. You can feel the emotion, you can see it in the eyes, you can see it in the faces of these Russian fighters who performed so well so far tonight under high pressure circumstances. They once called him Baby Fedor when he was a kid. But this is his GOAT.
30 finishes 27.
Fedor Emelianenko tonight returns center stage and returns to Moscow to take on the #2 ranked heavyweight Tim Johnson, who's coming off a fight for the interim heavyweight world title. That is the main event when we go live on Showtime at the top of the hour.
Tomorrow night.
This is the fight that most people, John, are split on as to which way it's going to go. The only thing we're not split on is that no one seems to think it's going to last very long.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, what you're looking at, Fedor is a guy who's so explosive with his stand-up right here. But beautiful judo, nice job against Frank Mir, putting Mir on the deck. And watch the left hand, bit right on the chin. That's what Fedor can do, and that's why everyone says, I think it's going to be a fast fight, because he can do that to Tim Johnson. Here he goes putting Chael Sonnen down on the ground, and then the ground and pound comes. He can do that to any fighter. But Tim Johnson in reverse can also do that. Here's Fedor against Quinn Jackson, and just watch. You see the fast hands, but watch the one shot. Quentin Jackson, a guy known, look at that. Known for having granite in his chin, can't take it anymore. Power has always been there for Fedor. Tim Johnson is the guy, look at that right hand right there. That was on the button. He was the guy that was always the wrestler. Went to Vegas, started learning from some great stand-up coaches at Extreme Couture and changed his game, used his wrestling, but is able to get there in a better fashion based upon his stand-up has gotten so much better, and he has power. And let's be honest, he could put Fedor out with that power. All it takes is one shot from a 265-pound man to end the fight. He's got great wrestling. Overall, he has turned into a fantastic fighter.
A Fedor walk in Moscow will be the icing on this cake, filled with an important fight at heavyweight for the former world champion Vitaly Minakov. Usman Nurmagomedov trying to stay undefeated, but we'll kick it off top of the hour with one of the best 185ers in the world, and Anatoly Tokov. We'll see you top of the hour on Showtime.
Russian legend Fedor Emelianenko returns home.
Big shots from Fedor. That's the GOAT!
For a collision with the #2 ranked heavyweight, American Tim Johnson.
Huge win for Johnson.
It's a historic Bellator battle when East meets West. Bellator MMA live from Moscow today on Showtime, where warriors rule.
Doing exactly what he needed to do. Backing him up. That's smart.
And Emelianenko with a takedown on Mir. And Emelianenko catching Mir with a sweeping left hook. 30 seconds of fury here to kick off the main event.
Take a look on Frank Mir's face. He's sitting there like, okay, that was fun. Good
Mir with a straight left hand. And Emelianenko clips Mir. Emelianenko the ground and pound on Mir. Fedor Emelianenko has turned back time.
Here it comes. He gets hit. Boom. That left uppercut lands right on Mir's chin. Watch the action again. Good straight left by Frank. He's coming in. He gets caught right here. Drops him down. He's stunned. Fedor comes up under the arm with a smart shot. Here it is again. Boom! Look at that head snap. That's what puts you out. This is what heavyweights are about, and this is the power that Fedor has always had in both hands.
Johnson surviving the shot below the equator. Lead right hand by Fortune connects. Another right hand. Oh, but Johnson just clocked Fortune. Fortune fingers the bald, and Johnson has knocked Tyrell Fortune out cold.
Here's a replay right here. Tim Johnson comes in, throws the left, but it's the right hand. Look at touch right on that chin. Hit the button. Didn't even need to follow up. Once that right hand touches, left hand comes forward. Both throw the right hand, but it's Tim Johnson's that finds the mark. And you can see Tyrell Fortune is out, going down.
Fedor comes in, that's where he can catch Fedor and put him down.
Rampage has only been finished by knockout or TKO 3 times in what is now 52, so 51 professional fights. 2 of those by Vanderlei Silva. 52nd pro fight for Rampage, 46th for Fedor. Midway through round 1, and that uppercut lands over and over. And the return from Rampage.
Fedor doing a very good job of actually confusing Rampage about where he's going to attack. Big shot.
And it is all over. Fedor Emelianenko knocks out Quentin Rampage Jackson.
Watch the shot here. Right hand just starches him. He goes face forward. You see a guy shaking his head. What is it telling you as the referee? I don't want to be where I'm at. I don't want to be in this fight. And that's why it was stopped. A good stop.
The cross. He's going to have to utilize his footwork to cut angles and then use his speed to get in and out.
It's the one thing that Johnson, being a guy that's always looking for the wrestling game, because he's not going to try to become hold the weight, having a heavy guy on pressure, because you know, when you've got a guy that knows how to use his body for pressure, he feels like he's not 263 pounds, he's 500 pounds.
He's 264 pounds. No, what we're seeing though right now is this is going to start to slow Mitrione down in the second round. So just having him carry Tim Johnson's weight, it's going to eventually wear on him enough to the point where his speed, his legs, and his footwork won't be as effective going into the second.
Yeah, he's paddling upstream this entire round based upon getting hit with a head to his chin that put him on his butt.
Those are big shots right there.
Tim Johnson pouring it on early. Mitrione's in trouble.
Does he stand up?
He's trying to get to his feet. That's what he's trying to work.
He's looking to finish it right here, right now. And it's all over! Just like that!
You see, when you get hit by the shots that you don't see, coming up under the arm, that starts to have the first effect of the downside for Mitrione. Now he's trying to hide his head, trying to bring his hand. He's trying to get himself to his feet. But when you're taking heavy right hands, and this is non-stop, look at Tim Johnson go.
Chair as we saw from Ryan Bader, but with some twists and some big punches.
That was a big right hand. Big right hand that Fedor landed on Chael. Chael is hanging tough. Love what I see out of him right now. He's got to move this.
Looking to finish right here, right now.
He's not being around, but he's got to move when Dan tells him to move.
And it's all over. Fedor Emelianenko.
Left hand comes up straight into the jaw of Chael Sonnen, but he weathered the storm on all of them. He got hit early, he got hit hard, but he kept pressing forward, going after the takedowns. It just wasn't meant to be for him to stay on top of Fedor. This is a position, loses control. I understand what he was trying to do and snap Fedor over with him. It didn't work for him. He ended up taking some shots for it. And here, what we're seeing is Fedor landing those shots, and Chael is not responding. You hear Dan Miragliotta tell him you got to move.
The new Bellator MMA app is here. New look, new features, new fights. Watch live weigh-ins and prelims. Share your fight picks. Earn points and badges as you rank up to the heavyweight division. And stay up to date on events, rankings, and news. For all of the latest features, download the new Bellator MMA app. Available on the Apple Store and Google Play.
Desperation time for Ryan Martinez.
And again, you see Martinez sitting up, and there's Minikov. There's the elbow, and another.
The problem is you have to push down a lot of times on your opponent's knee to use the mount escape. And do that, you got to take your hands away from your face. A lot of times you need to use your elbows. It's very difficult to do.
Can Minikov find the finish? Can Martinez sit up and through and get this fight back to its feet?
It's curling up now.
Huge right hands out for Minikov, and that is it! Minikov, an outstanding takedown against Ryan Martinez, who proved very tough to take down in this fight. Minikov ultimately working to full mount, and then he let go with a barrage of punches and short, sharp elbows. Minikov gets the finish and wins this heavyweight tournament final. Push kick from the champion.
Oh, huge right hand. Minikov now looking to finish and take the title. Ferocious ground and pound.
Volkov's hurt, trying to stay in this fight. He is intelligently defending himself right now.
Jackhammer rights, partially getting through now. The hammer fist, the left hand.
And that is it! TKO victory for Vitaly Minikov. He is Bellator's new heavyweight world champion.
No doubt that uppercut nailed him. Good right hand. Mergliata's right here looking at it. But look at the recovery of Volkov. Now here's the uppercut. Bang, big shot. Knocked him down. Another good right hand to the temple. Man, beautiful uppercut, nice right hand.
His opponent, the Russian now living in Montreal, Quebec, Vladimir Starchenkov, looking to move his pro MMA record to 3-0. Also his first time in the Bellator cage. Starchenkov comes out throwing. Jimmy, what'd you think of round one?
10-9, Minikov. Oh, nice jab by Minikov. Good right hand. He's got him hurt.
Minikov looking to pounce and looking to finish on his feet. Big shots. Referee Dan Mergliata taking a really close look.
Thought he was going to stop it right there.
And he does. There's the stoppage.
Take a look at it right here. Bang, stiff jab right through the guard. Good left hook right on the chin, and here's the end of the fight. Nice right hand. That dropped him. And Minikov just all over Starchenkov. Nice stoppage. I like what I was seeing here. All good intensity, good accuracy, nice combinations. Of his 10 wins, 5 knockouts, 4 submissions.